Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are listening from. My name is Zeplyn Tillman, and today I have a super special guest, Mr. Dre London.
Thank you.
How you doing, man?
Thank you for having me.
Man,
Thank you guys.
we're super excited to have you. Good, man. International superstar manager.
Nah.
You're into fashion. Manager of the year, Billboard's Power Players. You're having a great run right now.
You're making it sound good.
Come on, it's
it's
amazing. I'm looking at somebody who looks like me. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, bro. Trust me, I do it for people that look like me.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it sounds crazy when you put it together like that one after another. I'm like, that's me?
Yeah.
No, not really.
So I did my research on you, man. I did my research, and you give me Walt Disney level, Elon Musk level, Kanye West level confidence and belief in yourself. That's like, it's ridiculous. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I probably came from my mother growing up, and like, I would say, yeah, my family, but more my mother growing up. Like, I don't know. I just grew up with this will to I could do anything. Like, there's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing you could not do in this world. Like, anything that you want to do, you could do it. It just starts from the power of your mind, and after that, from your brain, you can take it to anywhere with the energy. So I don't know, it just came from being ambitious, I guess. I was very ambitious as young.
Yeah.
And also I looked at a lot of peers, like you just mentioned, some of the names you mentioned. I looked at peers before me, but living in another country, like being born in London before I came to America 12 years ago. I looked at all these things and I just wanted to do the same what they was doing, or do better, or do as good, or just do better from somewhere where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If that puts it in the right perspective. Like where I'm coming from, Brixton, South London, there's no one in this side, if that makes sense.
No, it does.
In the UK maybe, but not internationally known like you said. So I got to carry the flag, as you said, for people that look like us, that show them that they can do it too.
Yeah. Who were some of those early inspirations for you? I know that Richard Branson was a big one.
Yeah,
Who
Richard Branson, because I saw that he hadn't finished school the same way I did, and what he had achieved, and this guy's got his own island now, commercial planes, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, and he came from the UK, so I just looked at that as one of the big things. There's other people that I look up to as well, coming from the UK. It wasn't just from the UK, it's international, but you have like Idris Elba, like, a good friend of mine, and his journey was special also, because he was knocking on the door for years, going back and forth, coming to America, taking small roles, doing all kind of different stuff, and having to conquer the American accent. When he first came out on television, no American knew that Idris Elba was English. So I felt like it kind of had a little bit of the same journey, if that made sense. When people started to understand me more, away from sliding a little away from the English accent and hearing it mixed with the English American accent. I don't know, I guess they started to get the grind more and started to understand like he's here to stay. It's not, you can't come to America from another country and think you're gonna make it here without having to grind with all of the Americans.
Yeah.
And that's some of the things that I feel like people from international don't really see. They think they can come here, get something from America, like in terms of whatever their achievement or they want to achieve, and then go back to their country. It doesn't work like that. Americans ain't stupid.
Did you find similarities between London and when you first came to America, being New York? Like, what were some of those similarities you saw?
First of all, I wouldn't say directly the weather, because when it gets cold in New York, it gets freezing. The winter, it gets really, really cold. But I found similarities in the weather, basically the weather and the climate, and probably the hustle. But New York has like 5 times more of a, like maybe 3 times more of a hustle than London. Just added another 3, because everyone out there is grinding, everyone. The same thing in London, everyone's grinding, but in New York, I feel like it's 3 to 5 times higher, and the speed is.
Yeah.
So it was very similar to the UK, so it was easy for my first adjustment into the American system. It was still different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
So talk to me now about the transition. As you mentioned, you don't finish school, but you're a hustler, right? So you're finding ways to make money regardless. Talk to me about that transitional period between hustling to now coming to New York and kind of, you know, ignoring what everybody's saying about leaving, and you're like, nah, I'm about to jump into this new space.
Yeah, I looked at it as like the hustles when I got kicked out of school, and I had to grind. I think I only ever had one job for a week. I think it was lasted a week, and I didn't want to do it ever again. And then I just started thinking of different ways that I could make money and trying to be an entrepreneurial from early. And some of it was successful, some of it wasn't. And by the time I was 21 years old, I think I bought my first house. This was in London.
Yep.
And then I started seeing that I was continued hustling, but what was crazy was I learned that no matter what I'd been hustling or doing for the last 2-3 years, my house earned more money than I did in the 2-3 years. So I was saying, hold on, you're doing something wrong, you're hustling backwards. So then I started flipping houses. And then after flipping houses is when I then came to the United States and said, okay, now I'm gonna like sell it. It was just before the property crash in 2008. Everyone thought I was a genius. It wasn't really genius. I was already going back and forth from America, just wanted to sell up everything. Sold it all at the right time and then moved to America. It was like very crazy. And then the properties worldwide crashed. It was like a market crash.
So how much liquid do you have coming to America once you're finally here? Like how much estimate you think you
I thought I had enough, bro, but I didn't. Trust me. I thought I had enough.
Staying in New York.
Yeah, I came. Yeah, bro. I came from the UK with probably like 100 grand, 150 grand, or something like that.
Okay.
And for I'm good. This is gonna last.
Yeah. How long it
last? No, bro. Like a year or two, like a couple years.
Yeah.
Because you're running around, you're not earning money, you're spending money, and you're having to spend money to learn without even noticing, if that makes sense, because you're spending money to put yourself in these places or to go around certain people, or you know certain people you're going around. You're not asking someone for money to get here and there. You have to find it yourself. You have to find it within your own grind, within your own hustle, to put yourself in these rooms or in these spaces. So that costs money, not to put yourself in the room, but to get there, this, that. Doesn't matter. Feeding and clothing and eating and not earning no money, it doesn't last long. Doesn't matter how much money you have.
Sure.
If it's not coming back in.
So you're in New York now. You still have at the beginning some money, right? And then you're like, okay, you connect with, you had a friend from back home, right? Who was in the industry, an artist that you were managing, or
yes.
Okay,
yes.
so kind of talk.
I had an artist called Saros at the time. I came to New York knowing that at the time I think I was like so well ahead. The UK rap wasn't it wasn't like this today, like how you've Skepta, this one, that one. But I wanted to try and be the first to come to the US and break the UK rap. And this guy, this particular artist, he wasn't doing grime at the time. When everyone was just doing grime, he was rapping. So I felt like taking it to America would have been good. I had him big features, like a couple of big features from New York at the time, the Jada Kiss, Styles P's, French Montana, Max B.
Now, how did you get those, right? Because you're coming from the UK, and I'm assuming you don't just have those connections.
No,
so how did you put yourself in that position?
It's crazy because I'm trying to think how, but bro, I came with one phone number. I had one telephone number. Like, there's this rapper called Saint Last. We met him like through online or something. Yeah. And that was the one telephone number I had. And then other than that, bro, it sounds so crazy. I grinded all the way. Like, just met people in a party, in a club, hustle, this, that. Oh, such and such is gonna be here tonight? All right, cool. So maybe I could get there and try and get into it. I see people doing it today, and it's the same thing that I was doing back in the day, but you just got to be a serious hustler and have the right energy. The main thing for everyone, like back home, the main thing is the energy. People feel like you could just run up on someone and be like, hey, so I'm from such and such, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that, bro. Like, everyone in America is trying to do something. Not everyone, but so much people in New York are trying to do entertainment, LA, all these different places. What makes you so special running up on someone? You have to have the right energy. Happened to me the other day. I was in New York, and this guy was walking past the hotel, and I don't know, people do, this happens a lot, but this guy was walking past the hotel and was like, yo, hey, Dre London, I'm such and such, such and such. I work and I do this club in Miami and this, and I've tried to get through to you and I booked this one up. But his energy was so right, I'm like, all right, cool, let's stay in contact. He knew at first, I didn't want to give him my number. He could tell, I was like, man, I don't want to come up to you like this and be weird, and but like, his energy was right. I'm like, all right, maybe we could do business, or maybe down the line, one of my other artists or something, we could do business. So it just depends on the energy. In terms of people running up on you or saying, how do you get from zero to hero?
But what advice can you give to deviate a little bit for the social media era? Because I'm sure that doesn't make it any better, right? Because now I feel like I have access to you because I can see what you're doing. I'm looking at your story. So I feel like I know you even before.
It's kind of scary because I never had social media for years, bro. I was kind of scared of it, to be honest. Like you said, I came from a whole different background. So having social media for me was like kind of different. Even now, like using social media, I have to be wary. I can't just post and say, hey, I'm here eating this, or post a video eating this. I've seen people turn up before to a place or in a town from social media. So it has its pluses and it has its minuses at the same time. But we're living in that era, and I feel like if you use it to its advantage, it makes more sense. But it's scary. It's definitely a scary era, because everyone is on social media.
Yeah.
Like today, the kids DM each other like there's no tomorrow. Like it's like the world's got smaller, and you're right. People are now watching your daily moves, like.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. People can look inside your life and feel like, okay, I know him a little bit.
Yeah. Is there a proper way to reach you on social media? No.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Who's got the social media thing for me is tough, because I got to now have a social media account where people are watching, and some people are inspired and some people are following my journey. And I feel like we said in the beginning, like I owe it to certain people, like, and to people that are like me behind. So many people tell me they're inspired by what I do and just how I move, and like it's different from the old school way of how people do it, with sitting in their suits and at a table in an office. Like, it's not traditional. So it's hard, because I can't be running around and working, taking meetings, trying to be the #1 manager of the year or of the decade or of today, and then go on my social media and see who's DMing me at the same time, and going into my 99 plus and going through every single one. Like, bro, it's just hard. I feel like even you saying this now, like, I'm gonna get better and I'm gonna hire someone. Like, I have someone I hired now, but I'm gonna have them like literally go through it every day, like just control socials.
Because the other thing too is that there could be a great opportunity or an artist or
it's happened. It's happened. I'm not calling it anything.
Okay.
It's happened. It's happened. Certain artists don't want to go through someone. They don't want to go through someone else. And I've seen like major artists like where I've caught them, or someone that works with me is like, yo, have you seen that? Like, just many times I've caught major artists like trying to reach out to me, and I've hit them back like 2 weeks, maybe a month later, because I didn't get to see it. So you're right, it has.
Yeah. It's just a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance. It's a balance, but you do need to use it. Today you can't. How can you not?
Yeah.
The #1 app in the world is Instagram. I'm not promoting it. Everyone knows.
Right.
Most people wake up in the morning, the first thing they do, click. Don't even watch the news today. People get the news from their feed. We're living in a whole different era.
Yeah.
But I'm for it.
All right.
I'll use it.
So let's talk about now. You make the transition. You're working with French Montana. Right, you are an unofficial manager per se, but you're getting him some of the best looks of his career. Up to that point. Yeah,
I did enough where I could say definitely I was just at the same time as well as it turned out at the time where it was good looks, but at the same time I was just hustling, showing my worth, if that makes sense. Because he's doing his thing, he's running around. Like, I met him through a crazy chance, connected. He told me to come up to the studio in the Bronx. This was years ago. I come up there, I'm like, where the hell am I? Looking around like it was greasy. Like, some of the things I seen in hip hop when I first
This is before Bad Boy.
Yeah, well before Bad Boy, bro. Yeah. Same time, I remember being in Ransom Studio in New Jersey. Like, I just seen some things coming to America in the beginning in New York. Like, I saw the real hip hop. And connecting with French, I just saw a lot of people thought I was crazy at the time as well, because he just had Cocaine City DVD. And people was like, why are you running around with like, people who's not really like deep in hip hop, but they listen to it or they feel like they know what's going on. People, the barbershop talk. Yeah. That's the best way I can put it. The barbershop talk was, why is Dre running around with this French Montana guy? But like, today it's funny, because the same people who were saying why I was running around with that French Montana guy see the difference today, but like, they didn't get it at the time. And I have to say, like, at that moment, I was learning the game and proving my worth in the game. Because really and truly, I saw him and Max B in the early stages of their career, and I started learning the distribution game and how it works. They was selling DVDs, Cocaine City DVDs, this, that. And I was going, times I was with French, going to the distributor, looking at all the pins on the map across America, seeing all the mom and pop stores that was selling the DVDs and CDs. So it kind of like helped me prepare for the streaming age without even noticing, if that made sense.
Yeah, it does.
In a weird way, it made me prepare. It made me look at the map of America, it made me look at the mom and pop stores, it made me look at just the whole game from hand to hand before it got to we couldn't touch music anymore, if that makes sense.
I always feel like a lot of times the things you learn early on in your career, you even wind up, like they become the foundation for you. What would you say are some of like the main things you learned then that even still now, like it's bread and butter for you, it's gold, you still apply because it's just like, it's the truth?
Similar to what I was just saying, like looking at the map across and saying how many people live in this country and noticing that middle America really matters. Like people don't really believe it, they just think it's the major cities and you could be popping in the major cities. That's not how you break in America. Every city across the country matters. And you got people who might be doing less in the middle America than the people in the major cities, and they got time to take in. You could pop from one needle, could pop from one spark from somewhere and start covering across the rest of America. So I'd say like that taught me a lot early, and I don't want to go too far forward because you're going at a certain pace, but that definitely taught me before SoundCloud came. Yeah. Also as well, that taught me before WorldStar. So if you want to go in times of like what was happening next, because I watched this transition, and that's what I'm trying to say to you is very important from that French Montana era, Max B. I watched now it was no longer people was buying DVDs. Okay. Like that time, 2008 when I first moved to America and then went on and the years started going on. I don't remember what year it was, but DVDs stopped being in circulation. It wasn't as hype as it was anymore. And this thing called WorldStar came out. Everyone knew there was YouTube, but no one was using YouTube. Hip hop. Hip hop was only using YouTube for videos, like if they had a music video. It wasn't using it for the stuff that we was doing, like the streets, where French Montana had been recording of Nicki Minaj on the stairs, rapping, this, that. Like, it was just using a different way. So when I saw this WorldStar come, these guys going on this WorldStar site, they're at the top of the site, shit's blowing up across the country, people started logging into WorldStar like it was Instagram. Every day. If you think about the transition, so then it went from that to me looking at that and saying, hold on a second. These guys are now covering the internet. Now, before it was good because they was doing the DVDs and the CDs. I wasn't bootleg, but that's what it was. It was you was doing your own operation back then. And like I said, that geared me up for today because they was running their own machine. Like there wasn't a label, but they were still running their own machine, distributing DVDs across the country. And I don't know, there was just something with when WorldStar came out, I started seeing that just before the WorldStar era, these guys was doing Boston, Connecticut, Washington. They was doing like the East Coast up and down, and I was learning the road, what I would do, what I could do better. That was the number one thing where I definitely was watching, like what I could do better. The number one thing that I learned was like, okay, you see someone doing this, how would I do that better? How could I try and make it better? Saw WorldStar, and then as time went on and years went on, by the time it was the SoundCloud era, I had already learned from that that I was pushing a link, if that made sense. See, today, in that time, no one was calling it streaming, bro. No one was saying you're streaming. Or you had a link for a song, and you would text it out, or you would email it out. No one was looking at it like it was just, to me, that was like a hyperlink. You were sending it out, and the best you could promote that link was going to be the best that record could be, if that makes sense. That was how I looked at the beginning of streaming era, but it wasn't called streaming. And that's what I used of White Iverson in the beginning. So White Iverson came, like I met Post 2014, and then 2015 February, the beginning, the first week of Feb, we released the record, and I don't know, after getting one or two cosigns online by people tweeting it, I just kept using this link, and bro, I'm telling you, I didn't know what, I can't say I didn't know what it was, because obviously I did, and I'd done my homework, but like, SoundCloud era, everyone was trying to break through SoundCloud, and if you had the pop in SoundCloud at that time, you was gonna break. And I felt like what I learned back then helped with breaking posts in the future. So you're right, like what you do learn in the beginning, and you don't even know you're learning it sometimes because it's trial and error. You're bouncing around like a bumper car with trial and error trying to figure out. No one has the same story, no one has the same climb. So I feel like the bouncing around, running around with those guys helped years later when I met the destiny, if that is so
Absolutely.
cool.
So you're in LA now,
yeah,
right?
So I moved to New York. Yeah, I was in New York for 6 years, and then I left. Started going back and forth. I wanted to go to LA because I wanted to see the Grammys or an award show. It sounded crazy. Like, wanted to go to an award show. I had a friend of mine, which is very close to me, who now works with me. He could get a ticket for anything. Like, it was crazy. He's a hustler. He could get a ticket for anything. So he got me Bobby Greenleaf. Shout out to Bobby Greenleaf. He got me 2 tickets to the Grammys.
Okay.
And I remember going there, just seeing LA, and then I went to I got brought to a house by another English guy.
Okay.
He brought me to a house to meet these producers and YouTubers, and I didn't know at the time that you could play a video game and make money. Like, this was like this is 2012. There was not many people on there was no one on the East Coast doing it.
So.
I left New York, going to LA, and saw a kid, 19 years old, not a kid, but a young man, 19 years old, with a microphone around his ear, playing Minecraft. And outside, he had an Aston Martin.
That's crazy.
Living in a mansion that looked like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow.
Like, obviously, there was other kids there.
Yeah,
but
for
like,
sure.
That was the main kid, Jason. And Jason moved from Dallas a month before to LA, and he wanted to bring his best friend with him, who he believed in his career, or he wanted his best friend to chase his career.
Okay.
And that best friend was Austin Post.
Yep.
And they was just in this house and had other guys in this house, and I just saw the talent from Post early, and I don't know, like, it just...
What did you see? Because I feel like a lot of the times it's like, when a person, nowadays everybody's looking at their phone and Instagram to validate whether somebody's good.
Crazy, I know.
So like when you're looking at somebody who only has 600 followers, tell me retrospectively what it is that you feel like you saw that lets you know, I gotta work with this guy, even though there are no cosigns from the internet or people or whatever may have you.
It's crazy. It's a gut feeling. Anyone can say they have a gut feeling, but like you said, they're gonna look on their phone, start looking up, oh, he has such and such followers or such and such amount. But I just had a gut feeling, and it wasn't just a gut feeling, I knew he was a star. Like, it sounds, no one else, like, bro, believe me, in the beginning, I will never forget it. This guy called Josh and someone else, I brought them to the house, and it was like, Dre keeps talking about this fucking kid. Let's go meet this kid and see who this kid is, and da da da. I'll never forget, one day, Post had long hair then.
Yeah.
He came out the shower, I was like, hey, nice to meet you. I was trying to see it. I'll never forget the look the guy gave me. Like, he gave me a look like,
right.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, not everyone could see it, bro, like, if that makes sense. But I just knew every room he walked into, he lit up the room. He was the most polite. He would change 3 times a day and be in the same house without even going out for the night. Like, he would be changing swaggy 2-3 times a day. I'm like, this guy is different. Like, this, he just had so much difference about him, and his heart was pure. Okay. So I just felt like, in between, I see the talent, and he could go far. I also felt like I need to protect his soul, his heart, because he's nice, he's kind,
he was a good guy.
Pure, and he's a good guy, and this game is nasty.
Right.
And I'd seen all the nasty side before it.
Okay.
I already left the music business before that because I love music, but I hated the business. So I left it because I already been burned a few different times, and not burned in a way where I lost a whole load of money, but I paid to learn and said, okay, being nice and just sitting in a room with friends and thinking you're giving them advice, or introducing someone to someone and not getting paid for it when they make money further on down the line. I was like, okay, it's not happening again. No. That's over. So I saw that and was like, I want to protect him and have him grow at the same time. It's just a genuine. Everyone's like, who's this guy from London? Like, when I first came around, who's this dude? Who's this London guy? Like, Post, who's this London guy running behind you all the time? Like, who is he? People didn't believe it in the beginning. They was like, what am I doing running around? It's so funny because them same people today now show me the respect, like, okay, I get it. But you can't see my vision. You can't see Dre's vision. Only Dre can see Dre's vision. So sometimes people can see a line and line up with it and be parallel like a train running the same time. But you have your own vision, and everyone has to be able to figure out where they're going with their own vision, or see the end of the tunnel through their vision, if that makes sense.
It does. One of the questions while we're on this topic before we move from it that I know when I talk to a lot of artists, especially ones in the beginning, is they always ask, when should I get a manager? How do I know when it's time to get a manager? As one of the top managers in the world, we need this answer from you. When does an artist need a manager?
That's a great question. I think an artist needs a manager when they can see that their right-hand man or their closest friend or cousin or family, whoever they've put in place to promote, to help them promote, to take calls or to work on stuff. The reason why I say that is because, number one, any artist that's starting today that doesn't have someone beside them that really believes in them, I'm not just talking about some fake beliefs. You have some people, your family, cousins, they could lie to you and tell you, yo, he's really good, he could rap or he could sing. Like, it's not really that. I mean, you have someone genuine that's telling you like that they believe in your talent and you see the grind. Bring them along. Everyone has that early gatekeeper, that early person who's seeing what other people hasn't seen. Take them, make them run the office for the beginning. It's not even an office in the beginning because you're an artist trying to make it. You don't have no office, you don't have nothing. Yeah. But while you're doing your socials, while you're doing your YouTubes, while you're doing all the things that starting out artists will want to do, making videos, doing this, pushing, have someone else push it for you. It doesn't have to be a manager, but just have someone who knows how to talk to people and has sense of controlling an email and how to write to people and have the right energy. Like I said, back to the same thing. As long as that person has the right energy and then take them with you, then you see some growth. If you start seeing growth, I'm not saying crazy growth, but like if you start seeing growth to where people now wanting to book you for a show, it might not be the biggest show, it could be me and Post started out like rooms of 200, 250 cap rooms. People thought it was crazy. We was going and doing C markets and B markets and people thought I was crazy, but once that starts happening and you start seeing any type of shows, you start seeing maybe your online numbers getting a little crazy or just start getting a certain interest, then you can start looking for a manager. You have to also like have a barrier of like, you're just gonna jump out and just get like the hottest manager. You're not gonna turn around and be like, Motion Leezy's gonna go and manage you. Or Scooter Braun, or like, no big manager's gonna come out and manage you in the beginning unless they see it from the off. And every manager wants to see that hustle. No one wants to carry you and hustle for you at the same time. Every manager wants to see that hustle. So once there's like, out of 100%, let me see, 15? Once you've got a 15 to 20% spark, that's the time when you start looking for a manager. When you feel like you're at that 20% spark, where like, okay, someone can take this from 20 to 60 to 80 to 100, that's when you get a manager. But before that, don't be hounding the managers thinking that you need a manager. You need to concentrate on your talent and make sure that it doesn't sound like no one else's talent, it sounds original, and you got your inner team, your inner circle team first, then make a move for a manager.
I love that. I think that's gonna help so many artists.
Trust me, because it's hard in the beginning, bro. It's hard, and there's no real time. There's no real time to know you should get a manager. But for me, when you've got that 15, 20% spark, you'll know. When your videos are getting, I don't know, 10,000 views, just over a certain limit, maybe you're getting 50,000 views on a video now, and people are starting to look out for you. Your Instagram interactions has gone up, this, that. People will tell people, if you're good enough, a manager will find you. I always say that if you're doing the right thing as an artist, whether you go looking for it, that 25% spark, 30%, a manager will come and look for you if he sees it. Managers are also hungry. It's the same thing, like they're looking for talent too. I look at management like an artist's career. I can't take on an artist if it's gonna mess up my career. It sounds crazy. I'm looking at my career parallel to them at the same time. If I do something wrong or something goes wrong, I've took all this time to build up my name. 1 minute, I pick up the wrong artist and it tarnishes my name, or I lose stripes because I picked up the wrong artist. That doesn't help my career. So I look at things parallel. If the artist is good enough and I believe in it, I'm gonna take it. And people who know you've done it before, they believe in it. You go parallel, and both of you make your career get as big as possible.
That's perfect. So we looked at it from the artist's perspective. Now I want to look at it from your perspective, who has now been successful. For somebody who's saying, I want to be an artist manager, a talent manager. Let's go basic level. So when you're beginning, how much capital do you need? Like, do you need relationships? Like, what are some of the main things that you need?
Great questions.
You know what I mean?
These are great questions. You need a little. You don't need a lot. You need a little capital because you gotta get around. You gotta hustle and bustle. You might have to shoot videos, this, that. Like, everyone's trip is different. Today is different. Labels are now looking at artists different that start streaming. They're breaking their nets to try and sign them. But I had a whole different path. Like, Why Iverson? I paid for the video. I paid for the video. The beginning of Why Iverson, the first video, I paid for it. I'm not like that. That's not what a manager has to do.
But I was saying, do they have to pay for it? Okay, cool.
No, that's not what a manager has to do. A manager has to find a way to make their artist pop, be happy, break them. So whatever it is or whichever way it is that they're going to use to try and break them, they got to use it. I looked at it and said, hey, we've had this song out 2-3 months. It needs a video. Who's going to do the video? Like, okay, we was on the road doing this and that, but like, what Post was earning at the time, he was living off.
Right.
Like, he was living off the money that he was earning from the shows that might have had 250, 500. Then we're at South by Southwest. You don't get paid. We're going and doing shows at the same time, hustling. So I just looked at that moment and said, okay, it's time for the video. And I remember back in like that 2015 ASAP Rocky, he was the first person to tell me, like, he put it on me, like, I love that guy. He put it on me. He's like, why'd you make us wait so long for the video? And I'm a fan of hip hop too, Dre. And I was like, yo, it was just probably like a cool moment. But that time, I just felt like, what am I gonna do? Keep pushing the record. The record's 2-3 months out now.
Okay.
It's growing on the streets. It's in the internet. It's now moving from the internet over into the clubs. Now in the clubs. People are finding out what Post looks like because they're going and looking him up and like, no way. And because of the shock value of what he looked like against his sound, people are like, what the? Post? White Iverson? White guy? Allen Iverson braids, gold teeth. And you're saying he plays the guitar? People were just thinking it was very crazy, but it was working.
Right.
Then on top of that, I was putting him in the right social spaces at the right time. This is very important. The timing of putting him in the right social spaces, like, I refer to, this is a lot of game I'm giving away right now. I refer to House of Cards. Whoever's watched House of Cards will know something about the picture and being in the right place in the frame. House of Cards, like, definitely said it in the first season and the second season about being in the right picture frame, being in the right place. I didn't even realize that at that time, but that's what I was doing. As people were hearing of Post, they see him in a picture of Jeremy Scott. They see him here, they see him there, they see him. They're like, who is this guy? So that it makes more people warm towards him. I remember my friend Berto in Chicago said that he was having a conversation with some older guys, and the guys was like, yo, who the F is behind this Post Malone kid? Like, they seem to know what they're doing, or he's always in the right place. But bro, that was just the same hustle as what I said to you from back in the day that I learned, where be across America, there's certain spots, certain dots. If it's South by Southwest, we have to be there, we have to kill it. I made sure 2015, we killed that. 2 months before that, as I said, we didn't have no video. People just heard White Iverson. I remember getting out of the van in 2015 and we got these weird looks from these guys. And I was like, what's happening here? Like, it was just come out. It was like a little, could have been a confrontation, but it wasn't. They were looking at Post like, it is him. Yo, what up, homie? I was like, wow, we didn't have a video, bro. So after that, when I paid for the video, and as I said, I wasn't doing it because a manager should do that. A manager, you could go and find a sponsor. You could find a brand who wants to put something in your video or advertise something because they believe in the artist too. I just looked at it and was like, yo, I'm gonna do this. I believe in it and nothing's gonna stop it. And I guess that's also what made me here today as a manager. Like, there's no rule book to it, bro.
I love that.
There's no rule book to management. There's no, you just gotta like protect your client and push them as hard as you can. My number one thing is just I rep my client in Cotton War and clients now, the word clients.
Absolutely.
I rep them in Cotton War and I fight for them like no one else would. Like, and they see that every day, that I wake up every day. You wanna be a manager, you gotta wake up every day and know that your life is not first. That's the hardest part about being a manager.
Your life is not first.
Yeah, you can't, your life is first. Of course, you wake up, you eat, sleep, breathe, brush your teeth, but like, bro, when you get up, the first thing you're doing, you're focused on someone else's life, someone else's dream. Don't become a manager if you, or a talent agent, or anything above behind the scenes in the game if you're not gonna push. Don't kid people. Don't mess around with people's lives. So that's why I feel like what goes around comes around in terms of my success. I never ever. Do you know how many artists wanted me to manage them, and I think they're good, but I don't think they're great, and I can't take on the time. There's only 24 hours in a day, and if I don't believe that I can, I won't do it, bro, because that's somebody's life. That's someone waking up every day thinking of you or calling you, pressing you, thinking that you're working for their life. And if you're not, it's fake. You're not gonna get the karma that you're supposed to get. People just think like, oh, I can find this talent, just run behind him and say I'm managing him. It doesn't go like that, bro. Like, you have to eat and sleep it. It's kind of babysitting. Whether you want to believe it or not, you're an expensive babysitter, depending on the level where you get to. I'm not saying I'm babysitting anyone right now. No, not the case. I'm talking about in the beginning of the career, you have to babysit and grow. It's like a baby. You know when they say it takes a village? What's that saying? It takes a village to grow. Yeah, so it's exactly that. That's management.
Another question that I know a lot of people ask, what percentage should I take in the beginning? How do I know how much to get?
That always varies.
Okay.
That always varies. It always varies. A standard manager gets 20%.
Right.
Any standard manager gets 20%. He might have a partner, might have to split it. The artist could be huge already. He'll get less than 10% if the artist, less than 20% if the artist is huge already. I might end up with 10% or 15. Sure. But generally speaking, 15 to 20% is the standard management rate.
From the very beginning, even if that's your artist overhead, or like, you know, that's where, as you said, that was a lot of what Post was making in the beginning. So if you're getting $2,000 for a show and you're getting 20%, you know, that's a lot at that time versus 200,000 or 2 million.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. But at the same time, it's different because my situation was different because I'm putting in.
Okay. Got you.
Other managers might not be putting in at the time, so they're not going to collect back that.
Sure.
But I'm putting in more than I'm collecting.
Yeah, so you need return on
So
your
something has to balance out. You got a show for $2,000. I need my $400. I just spent $1,000, $1,500. We was just on Fairfax. We was buying clothes, making sure you was fresh.
Right.
I need that little free $400. That's like
true.
some part of a comeback. So artists have to look at the balance as well. It works two ways. Like, but as I said, my situation is different. If your manager is putting money from his own pocket into your career, you shouldn't have a problem giving him 20%. Why?
Sure.
If he's not and he's using other ways, or you guys found a fund or someone who's put up money and he's still managing, then maybe that's different. Yeah. That's a different situation. But if your manager, which I said doesn't have to do this, but if the manager's doing that, then there should be some form of a comeback. Yeah. Same thing with like a production deal today. Like, they're gonna spend money on you to make you famous. There should be some comeback. So for me, the standard is 15, 20%. Everything starts there, but if you have money coming from somewhere else, that might split different. Yeah. But then the person who has the money coming in might want some of the management money because it's the only guarantee in the beginning that they're going to see any money. To know that they're going to be streaming.
That's true.
It's a lot of ins and outs in this game. Scenarios. There's no one scenario that I can say is going to make or break, or there's a rule book. Today, Dre's going to write the #1 step from 1 to 10 on how you make it. I could give you advice and I could show you a way that's going to make you miss out some of the BS that you've had to deal with without knowing it. But other than that, bro, it's not the same roadmap.
Sure. It's 2020 now, though, and I do want to kind of get into a little bit about what made you one of the top managers in the world, because I'm sure that what you were doing in 2015 is different than 2020. So from an energy perspective now, what is your energy going towards on a day-to-day now versus when you first started?
When I first started, I don't know, people think I'm crazy because I hardly sleep as it is already. I sleep 4 hours. And like, I've always had this hustle of like, I sleep 4 hours since I was in London. Like, I've always like been awake for 20 hours in a day. When you're a kid as well, I don't know if this was the training, but normally when you're a kid, you ever used to stay up late at night? Till 6 in the morning. So it's like fun. You're watching late night TV, your parents are going to sleep, whatever. I feel like that training was training me for what it is today. I stayed up as a kid late. Now I'm always awake, always grinding. I don't know. Like today, I'd say time.
Okay.
Time I use more wisely today, definitely. I'm not running around doing 100 things. In the beginning, in 2015, as Bobby used to say, I was doing 6, 7 jobs. Like, Post didn't have a publicist. He didn't have an assistant. He didn't have, like, all these different jobs. It was me, him in a backpack, and I had to have my phone and do everything. And believe it or not, people believe it or not, I didn't Post lost when I have a laptop now, or when I take out my iPad.
Yeah.
I broke Post off my old iPhone. Backpack, iPhone, apps.
That's it.
Crazy enough. That was the era, 2015. So the difference between today and then now I have staff.
Yeah.
Nothing's really, the main thing that I think since 2015 that I've definitely kept to today is results. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear people like, communication is the key to success, number one. If you have communicational skills or you don't have communicational skills, just be clear. If you're clear with every single thing going along, you can have an office building. How many times you been in an office building? They're working on a project, but Tom over there doesn't know what John knows, or there's a mishap and someone in the office doesn't know this, and communicate. It spoils the project. So communication is always the number one key. And then, as I said, results, bro. Like, that nothing beats getting results. It doesn't, even if there's small goals and small results, I just look at every single one of them as important as the smallest one as the biggest one.
Yeah.
I have staff that might think I miss something sometimes, and like instead of missing, I catch it maybe 3 days later, 4 days later, and it's like, why? Why would you do? There's no shortcuts.
Sure.
There's no. So from 2015 to 2020, no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
I might have taken a few back in the day and feel like you could keep doing it. There's no shortcuts. There isn't any. There is no shortcuts. You differently from 2015 to 2020, I said probably time.
Yeah.
Probably time the most. And investing in the right places. It's totally different. It's a different
And I was
time.
gonna say,
5 years,
right.
It's major different timing.
Yeah, as we kind of get ready to wrap down, you talked about the investing, and I know you have a women's shoe line.
Yeah, I have a women's
shoe line.
so
let's talk about that and kind of what
that's
that
kind
means
of crazy.
for you.
The women's shoe line. So I started a women's shoe line called Dre London, and I started. It's not even, I haven't launched. I'm launching it in the next couple of months. I, believe it or not, I was doing it before I met Post, because I'd fell out of love with music. As I said to you, and no, I fell out of love with the music business, not music. I always had a love for music. That never goes anywhere. It pumps through my heart. Like, so when that happened, I also had a love for women in nice shoes. It was weird. I always liked women wearing nice shoes. Some guys might get it, some guys don't. I just felt like women wearing nice shoes was fire all the time. And I don't know, I started studying online, designing women's shoes, like the history behind women's shoes. And it was at the time as well in the beginning when Christian Louboutin was just taking off. Like this was like some time ago, bro, like maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I just started coming up with, I came up with this idea. I'm not gonna say what it is here because
absolutely.
You'll see it with the brand. But I came up with this idea and I just wanted to see it on the shoe. I was in New York, I met this girl, she had a chain, she had something on the chain. I wanted it to be on the heel. I had someone who was good at Photoshop. I made them Photoshop it on a heel to see what it looked like. It looked crazy in a picture. And then I started trying to find someone who could make shoes, who could do the CAD, if that makes sense, like the CAD drawings and knew the technical sides. I didn't know none of that. I went back to London. I think it was after the first 4 years of being in America. I went back to London, and this kid I know named James, my friend's little brother, told me he knew this guy who was working for Gucci and all these different brands that design shoes. It was like a proper crazy, out of the blue moment. He was American. See, cause people who design, actually, not design, because I came up with design, but people who actually do the technical part of the shoes, you don't find them. It's like an underworld. So I met this guy, came up with the idea, he Photoshopped it, showed him the Photoshop. Then we started to design the shoe. It took a year or two to make this heel, maybe less, to make this heel. And then I kept developing it, and then Post came. Post, funny you asked me, because Post said 6 months. I go, what happened to your heels? I'm like, wow, they're coming out next year. So I started Dre London before, and it was a vision that I had before all of this. And now I think everything is timing. It's now going to launch, and it's one of the investments that I invested in some time ago. And I've kept putting little things in, like and it sounds weird, Dre designing shoes or women's shoes, but the other day I thanked Virgil. A couple of years ago, 5, 6 years ago, I wouldn't have said that.
Yep.
5, 6 years, not like I'm scared or nothing, but a black guy designing high-end Italian women's shoes.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about that 6, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. That wasn't going on, bro. Like, my brain was like ahead of its time, if that sounds right.
Yeah.
And I had this concept, I had this idea, and I kept following it through. And now they're about to launch in the next couple of months, and I'm excited. Like, finally, after so many years, new designs, new styles, this, that, flying back and forth with Italy.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, just good investments, bro. As you said, that's the difference between today. You can invest.
Sure.
Now you've earned some money. Invest it in the right place. Don't invest in, don't get me wrong, it looks good. Diamonds look good, but it's not about diamonds and chains, cars, this, that. Like, invest your money correctly, because you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You can lose it just like that. So any money you do make in this game, because today, guys, back home, hip hop is streaming more than ever before. It was not recorded before. There's a time happening in our era. Everyone now has $10 a month they don't mind paying. Back in the day when Rhapsody was doing it in the beginning, no one wanted to pay $10 a month. Now you have Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all these streaming accounts. People are paying $10 a month. If you catch a hit or you catch a song, people are gonna keep streaming it. That keeps going forever and forever and forever.
Passive income.
Yeah, passive income. So now, save that money. Like, there's money coming in through streaming. Today I heard record labels are earning $1 million a day. No, an hour. $1 million an hour. Major labels today just came out after 2019. In 2019, major labels are earning $1 million an hour.
Wow.
Think about the independents. Shout out to my guy Mo Shalizi, who has Marshmello. These guys are independent. Streaming today, people, you're not thinking of, people think of moments. Waka Flocka, that Waka Flocka's record.
Oh, Let's Do It, or No Hands.
No Hands.
No Hands.
No Hands. 2019.
Yeah.
2 million sold through streaming. That's because now it's all being recorded. We used to buy bootleg CDs, bootleg DVDs, going back in the era. It wasn't being recorded who was listening to hip hop, if that makes sense. The data wasn't being recorded. Now, everyone's, I won't say this, but like, popular music today is what?
Hip hop music. Rap
it's
music.
hip hop.
Yep.
No offense, there's people upset. They couldn't understand why my boy Roddy Ricch was at #1.
Yeah.
For 7 weeks now, congratulations, but people couldn't understand. They wasn't looking at the vision, they wasn't looking forward. There was a lot of people who couldn't understand how The Box and his album was at #1 for so many weeks.
Yep.
It's the time and the era we live in, but I'm saying everyone who's behind that, all of the independent guys, all of the independent managers, everyone is independent basically in the beginning. It doesn't matter even if you have a label, you're still independent. You have to run your core team. Everyone who's doing independent business today and growing your brands, save your money.
Love that.
Save your money, because there's gonna be a rainy day, bro. There's always gonna be a rainy day, and make sure you're prepared for it.
That's perfect. Final question we always ask, why are you here?
Why am I here as in sitting in this chair?
Not in this chair,
or on
but like,
earth? Why am I here?
Why are you here?
I'm here on earth, I feel, to do what I'm doing right now. I was born to send a message, like we said in the beginning. I like this question. This begins the beginning to the end. I'm here on earth to show others in the future that they could do it, the same thing that I'm doing. Clarence.
Avon.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. See, you know who he is. I want to see if you knew. Clarence Avon. Without guys like that, bro, I wouldn't be here today. So if you say my purpose, I feel like my purpose here is to do and continue what someone like Clarence did. Keep the doors open, keep us being able to grind, keeping the stigma away. We can run businesses. We can do strong things today. We don't have to run behind someone. You can learn every single day and change the world. So I feel like my path here is to like continue changing the world, try and be a big, have as big an empire as possible, and continue the legacy, what I've seen before me, what the Jay-Z's, the Sean John, Diddy, Pharrell's, all of the peers before me, what they did, they used this and built big brands, and some became billionaires. Their great-grandkids, some of their grandkids, kids is not going to even know who they are, but their name will live on. So I would say I'm here today on Earth to make sure that I create a legacy that lives on. And I'm trying to create a legacy that lives on forever, so you remember my name.
Dre London.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, bro.
All right.